Hey guys, it's Cole from TCG Cardcast, and today I'm bringing you my Cyberstyle deck profile. So let's get into it. Now, I have long since enjoyed the Cyber Dragon archetype. It was actually the first ever full archetype I played when I was introduced to the game. And yeah, Cyber Dragons is just, it's a deck from my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh anime. But on top of that, as you guys know, if you watch Invoke 101's channel, we would spend a day almost every single month trying to set up a Cyberdark build that worked. And only until the new Cyberdark stuff came out in the structure deck did we finally go, all right, this is probably fine the way it is, let's stop. But now we have even more support that we got with Alliance Insight, and it makes the Cyberdark variant of this deck so good. If you want to check out a more pure version of the deck, I will link Invoke 101's video in the description. But as it is, this is the version that uses a few more Cyberdark cards to pump out an extra negate on your end board, and we'll show the combo at the end of the video. But without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the namesake of the deck himself, of course, we're playing 3 copies of original Cyber Dragon. I have seen some people say that they are playing 2. I've never seen anyone actually playing 2. I've seen people say they're playing 2. And then we've got 3 copies of the newest monster in the deck. One of the 2 new monsters in the deck is Cyber Jormungandr. Garter is a light level 5 machine with 1021. It's got like inverted Cyber Dragon stats. It can't be normal summoned or set, which means you can search it off of emergency and repair plant. But its effect is if your opponent controls a monster, you can summon this card from your hand, then take a Cyber Dragon from your deck and either special summon it or equip it to this card as an equip spell. You can return one Cyber Dragon you control to the hand, add a polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. This card is really good. In fact, this card is so good, we don't even play Galaxy Soldier anymore. We don't even play Disablaster anymore. This card single-handedly fixed a pretty big hole in the deck that had to be filled by other cards. And it's also a semi-essential part of the 2-card combo. And it's just a really good opening. It's a free infinity. I don't really know what else to say about it. Of course, we have the all-star player of the deck. We have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. Core has always been a core piece of the strategy. And we've got 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Noxter and 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Hertz is a card I've considered cutting recently. I have not really used it as much as I used to, especially not without Galaxy Soldier. So if you're going to cut anything from this deck to fill out more hand trap spots, I would recommend cutting the Hertz. Just because I like I said, I have not used him a lot, so there's that. And then this is more of a local meta decision for me, but I am playing 1 copy of Cyber Eltanen. It's just really nice to have that extra piece of board breaking in this deck. On to the Cyberdark monsters. We're playing 1 of each of these cards. We have 1 copy of the new Cyberdark Worm. This card does anything and everything. I'm not kidding. It is a dark level 5 machine with 821. Its name becomes Cyber Dragon on the field or in the graveyard. That's important to note for later. If this card is in your hand or graveyard and you have another machine cyber monster in your field or graveyard, you can send a Cyber Dragon monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, special summon this card, then you can add a Cyber SpellTrap from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use that entire effect once per duel, but this card is still really good. We're only playing 1 of it because you are supposed to send it off of another card's effect from your graveyard or from your deck or hand to the graveyard. But even if you open it, this card is still really good. Like I said before, the fact that it changes its name to Cyber Dragon is actually an issue. We'll go over that a little later for this specific build, but this card and Jormungandr are amazing pieces of support for this deck. I'm so happy we got them. Of course, we have 1 copy of Cyberdark Chimera. We love Chimera. Chimera is the best boy. He's the power bond searcher we were always destined to obtain. We are unfortunately playing just the 1 copy of Cyberdark Edge in this deck. The reason is this specific version of the deck that uses more Cyberdark cards relies on power bonding Cyberdarkness Dragon as part of its main combo. The issue is that Cyberdarkness Dragon requires 5 Cyberdark effect monsters, and while you do use 5 Cyberdark monsters in your combo, Cyberdark Worm's effect to stop being a Cyberdark monster and being a Cyber Dragon just a Cyber Dragon stops him from qualifying for Darkness's fusion materials, so we have to play the 1 copy of Cyberdark Edge to meet the material requirement. We have 1 copy of Cyberdark Claw, 1 copy of Cyberdark Cannon. We have 1 copy of Karnot the Eternal Machine. Love Karnot, he is so fun. 1 copy of Jizakiru, and 1 copy of Therian King Regulus. And then to round out the monster lineup, I am just playing 3 copies of Ash. You can swap the Ash out for whatever you'd like. On to the spells and traps. This card has been a staple since its introduction. We are playing 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. We are playing 2 copies of Cybernetic Horizon. Really happy to have this card back in the deck. We weren't playing it for a long time because there just weren't any good dark targets in the pure build. But now that we have Cyber Dark Worm, we are more incentivized to play this semi-dark, semi-light Cyber build. 1 copy of Cyberdark Realm, 1 copy of Cyber Rev System. I am playing 2 copies of Power Bond. Others might play 1, I play 2, just because if I open it, I can still discard it for Chimera's effect to search it, and if I open it and end up not needing it, which in this combo you don't end up having to discard it, it's still useful. It's still live in your hand, even if you opened 1 at the beginning of your turn. Similar situation, I'm playing 2 copies of Clockwork Knight. I've been finding that I wish I had another Clockwork Knight in my hand if duels last more than a few turns. So I'm playing a second Clockwork Knight just so there's a chance I could hard draw it if necessary. But yeah, that's a personal choice. 1 copy of Polymerization. I'm still playing the 1 machine dupe. In the off chance you do draw the 1 machine dupe, it is a really nice extender, but it's not necessary for the combo whatsoever. If you don't want to play machine dupe, you don't have to. I like it because it takes this 5 negate end board and it makes it into a 6 negate end board, so that's why I like playing it. And then the last spell I'm using is a copy of Called by the Grave. And then to finish out our spell and trap lineup, I am just playing 3 copies of the safest hand trap in the world. It's just Infinite Impermanence. Again, you can swap this out for literally anything you'd like. On to the extra deck. I have gone back and forth on cards in this extra deck for a while now. There are still a few cards I'm still thinking of cutting, but without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the OG Cyber End Dragon. Now, you might think Cyber End Dragon is a little too bulky for a modern playstyle. I have surprisingly won so many games by power bonding Cyber End Dragon. I didn't think in the big 2025 we would still be doing this, but Cyber End Dragon Power Bond is actually a game winner still. It's kind of nuts. We're playing 1 copy of Eosphorog, the Mechanical Dawn. This card is still an amazing replacement for Cyber Twin Dragon. We've got 2 copies of Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, 1 copy of Fortress Dragon. Honestly, I've been considering cutting a card later in the extra deck for a 2nd copy of Fortress Dragon, just because with the extra copy of Clockwork Knight, you might actually want to use him more often. The Chimeratech Mega Fleet Dragon. Then we're playing 1 copy of Cyber Dark Dragon, a copy of Cyber Darkness Dragon, and then the card I'm probably going to take out of this deck, I kind of forgot it was in here when I did this deck profile, Cyber Dark End Dragon. I would probably replace this with like Eternity Dragon, or like I said, the 2nd copy of Chimeratech Rampage. I'm only playing him in here because every now and then I find an opportunity to summon him in a really niche situation, and I just think it's really funny. That's why I'm playing him. Then, of course, we've got the 1 Cyber Dragon Nova and the Cyber Dragon Infinity. Chronomaly Vamana is a really nice negate that this deck can pump out. Clockwork Knight is another really great opportunity for this deck. I play a copy of Barricade Board Blocker. It can recover your Cyberdark Realm if it's absolutely necessary. It can also recover your Clockwork Knight from the graveyard if that's absolutely necessary. But above all else, If you don't have a monster that is equal to Cyberdragon, Barricade Board Blocker just requires 2 monsters with different names. So it's a really easy way to get Clockwork Knight off the field, because sometimes you end up in a situation where you can't summon Seeger, and a card like Barricade Board Blocker is just a really good opportunity for the deck to go into. Alright, so now we're going to show off the main 2-card combo of the deck. This 2-card combo is really easy to achieve. You either need a copy of Cyberdragon Core, a copy of Jormungandr, or a copy of Emergency in your hand. You can have any combination of these 3 cards, any 2-card combination of these 3 cards. So for simplicity's sake, we're just going to do Jormungandr and Core. So we're going to start by normal summoning Cyberdragon Core. Cyberdragon Core's effect is going to add a copy of Cyberdark Realm from our deck to our hand. We're going to activate Realm, and instead of what we would normally search being Chimera, we're going to search a copy of Cyberdark Claw. We're going to discard Claw to activate its effect, to search for a copy of Cybernetic Horizon, which is always treated as a Cyberdark card. We're going to activate Horizon, and we're going to ditch the Light Machine Cyber Jormungandr from our hand, and the Dark Machine Cyberdark Worm from our deck, in order to add a copy of Cyberdark Cannon from our deck to our hand. And then on resolution, Horizon is going to send Cyberdark Dragon from our deck extra to the graveyard. We're going to discard Cyberdark Cannon in order to search for Cyberdark Chimera, who we are now finally going to normal summon in addition with our Cyberdark Realm. We're going to use Cyberdragon Core to link 1 into Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight's effect is going to send Realm to the graveyard to search for a copy of our Clockwork Knight continuous spell. Cyberdark Chimera is going to send the Clockwork Knight from our hand to the graveyard to search for a copy of Power Bond, and to give us that nice once per turn graveyard material effect. Next, we're going to activate the effect of the Cyberdark Worm that is in our graveyard. We're going to send a copy of Cyberdragon Noxter to our graveyard in order to resurrect the Cyberdark Worm to our side of the field, and to recycle, it doesn't matter which one, it's not going to get used again, to recycle the Cyberdark Realm into our hand. You could use Cybernetic Horizon if you really wanted to. Again, this card that you add back does not matter. Next, we're going to use the effect of Clockwork Knight, tributing Chimera to special summon Cyberdragon Noxter back to the field. Chain 1, Chain 2. Chimera, on Send to Grave, is going to send a Cyberdark card that is not already in our graveyard to the graveyard. We're going to send Cyberdark Edge. And Noxter is going to resurrect a Light Machine with 2,100 attack points or defense points. We're going to call back Cyber Jormungandr. Garter's effect is going to bounce the Cyberdragon Noxter back to our hand in order to add a copy of Polymerization from our deck to our hand. We're going to overlay these 2 5 monsters into Cyberdragon Nova. We're going to detach, it doesn't matter which one again, but we're going to detach Jormungandr to special summon Core back from our graveyard. We're going to now very safely overlay Infinity on top of the Nova. We're going to use Polymerization to fuse the Noxter and the Core on our hand and field to summon out Eos Virag, the Mechanical Dawn. We are going to activate Power Bond. Power Bond is going to banish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cyberdark monsters from our graveyard that have different names to summon Cyber Darkness Dragon. Darkness Dragon will then equip himself with, it doesn't really matter what, you can choose any monster you'd like. And then the final piece of this combo is we're going to banish Clockwork Knight and discard Cyberdark Realm in order to add Therian King Regulus from our deck to our hand. And we're going to activate Regulus's effect, and again, equip him with whatever you'd like from your graveyard. So, this is our 5 negate end board. You have 1 Omni negate with Infinity, you have an Omni negate with Regulus. Because Regulus puts a second equip monster on the field, Darkness Dragon has 2 negates, and then Eos Virag has a SpellTrap negate. So this is your end board. If you'd like, you can end it by absorbing the Clockwork Knight like that. But this end board also ends with us having 3 cards left in hand. If you only open Cyberdragon Core, this combo still ends the exact same way. You just don't end on the Eos Virag. Like, that's it. That's the only real difference. This is still a 4 Omni Negate end board with 3 cards in hand. Actually, it would be it'd be 4 cards in hand, I believe. But that is that's the end board you end on with this deck. I'm really happy that Cyber Darkness Dragon is actually carrying its weight in this deck. That makes me unbelievably happy to see the Cyber Dark cards actually doing something in this deck instead of just being garbage. So I'm very happy with this build. Super, super happy with how this has turned out. This is definitely the deck I'm going to be playing for the next foreseeable future. But that was my 40-card Cyberstyle deck profile, including the Cyberdark monsters. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the button in the center of the screen to subscribe on the spot. Go down into the comment section to tell me what you guys want to see next. And make sure to check out the link in the description for the pure build on Invoked 101's channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.